Thank you for tuning into the Natural Habitat Podcast. Just by clicking play, you've guaranteed that you are certified fresh as fuck. Fresh as fuck. In my book, at least. And probably a few others. You're pretty dope. Thank you for listening. Today's episode is brought to you by Icy Tokes. Icy Tokes are glass cubes that you put in your freezer, take out of your freezer, put in your bong, put weed in your bong, put fire to the weed, and you get high with cool, crisp smoke with no excess water melt and no bullshit. So go to icytokes.com and get yourself a pair today and let them know that the Natural Habitat Podcast sent you. Today we're doing our Throwback Thursday. That's right, our new segment, Throwback Thursdays. Myself and Joey Black talking about the simpler times, all right? The finer things, no, not the finer things in life. That's rich people. The simpler times, just that. Back when things were easy. When we were kids, shit was dope. And you know what? I'm not going to get into it. We're going to get into it. So here it is, Throwback Thursdays, Natural Habitat Podcast. Other things that I should say, thank you for listening.
The Natural Habitat Podcast. Habitat Podcast. The Natural Habitat Podcast.
My name is Mikey Boohyah.
My name is Unknown, a.k.a. Joey Black.
And we are here to talk to you about a time when things were simpler. A time when the slime ran like gold. A time when we were children and things were just way fresh. Things were made cheaper. Things were less flashy. And all around just more reliable, more durable, and provided a lot more entertainment. As opposed to, I don't even know what kids buy nowadays. Now that I think about it.
We're talking about the time that makes you sentimental. The time where you look back on your childhood and you like to reminisce. The times when you can kick it with your friends and always have those memories. We're talking about nostalgia.
That's right, motherfuckers. And us, in particular, we happen to be both 19 years old. So we remember when we were growing up, our older brothers were all into stuff from the 90s and the 80s, So we remember all that. And I think that it's a big fad. I always see all these pages and all these BuzzFeed links, all like 20 things from the 90s that if you don't remember, you didn't have a great childhood or some shit like that. They just go on and on and on. So we figured that we would cover some of that, some of our favorite things, and maybe take a little trip back in time with y'all.
If y'all are ready,
yep,
let's take the trip.
So let's go. We're gonna cue the time warp music now.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and
really
sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
90s. That's right. Here we are. The voiceover guy's a little drunk, so he didn't know what he was talking about. But I didn't even know that time warp music was coming, man. I was going to put that in post. You're on point. On point with the theme songs.
It's a brand new era at the Natural Habitat Podcast. Get ready.
Damn right. So I think one of the major influential things from the 90s would have to be Nickelodeon. Even though Nickelodeon, I think, is still a thing. It's not. I mean, it does have the kids like it had us, but Nickelodeon was some crazy shit when we were kids. Nickelodeon Slime, is that still a thing?
It is at their award shows and things. I don't know if there's a show based around it anymore, but I know that they still slime people at all their kids teen awards and all those type of things.
Yeah, and I think that I don't think it's as exciting as it used to be when you were in the 90s.
Well, here's the thing: when we were growing up, and things that we liked, our parents didn't understand. We're at the same time now. where we don't understand what's going on with the next generation because we weren't going through it as it was happening. You know what I mean? We've kind of distanced ourselves because of every other things that we have going on in our lives. So we don't have that same type of feeling as we did towards the things from our childhood. And that's what makes nostalgia. That's why these kids are going to have that factor with the things that they're growing up with right now. And it just keeps evolving and changing and over time and creating new classics every day.
Yep. And all the shit that we grew up with is stupid to those kids, but it was
they don't understand.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I just got a pile of pogs I'd say 6 months ago from a homie's house. Went over there, got 15 pogs and 2 slammers, and I'm all about that shit, man. I still can't find anyone.
You know what's funny?
With
me. we weren't that smart when we were young, but you could have used the pog container and the slammer as a grinder for your weed.
Yeah, very true. You could have. I didn't even think about that. I remember when I hit a certain age and all my pog containers turned into bongs, and I couldn't carry my pogs around anymore, so I just got rid of them or sold them or lost them on purpose. And now I wish I had all that shit still.
I remember I had one of those giant plastic piggy banks. It was looked like a Crayola crayon, and it was 3 foot tall. And I remember making a giant steamroller out of that thing. And we used to, me and a couple of kids I'm not going to name, used to hide up in the rafters in my garage, up in the roof, and we would blaze tough every day at in 6th grade and 7th grade and shit. We were bad kids.
Hell yeah. I don't know why they made all the toys bong shaped back then, but they kind of did. Everything was bong shaped and easy to manipulate and smoke weed out of. I remember smoking weed out of 2 liters, and that doesn't happen as much as it used to when I was a kid. You used to go over to your homie's house, and he would have a bucket of water with the 2 liter with a little makeshift bowl piece made, taking gravity bong loads. And then they made everything not bong shaped so that we can't fuck with it anymore.
I think it's because the older we got, we realized that shit's not good for you, and so we stopped doing it. But smoking out of a can. Now you know aluminum intake gives you Alzheimer's or some shit, or is a cause. You know, we didn't have those thoughts in our heads as kids. We didn't know any better. We were just fuck, what can I smoke out of? Anything. You know, I still find myself making random things like the air freshener on the toilet paper roll. As you know what I mean, that dryer lint thing, the fucking that make it smell good or whatever to hide the smell of smoke. And there's other things too, make bongs that are fruit. I'll make a joint holder out of a strawberry and smoke the joint through the strawberry, and some of those things I still do.
Yeah, and I think as a child, it was a mix of ignorance and imagination, so where we can come up with a lot more things than we can now because I'm tired from working all the time. and also it was the ignorance of, smoking out of cans and doing shit that was probably very bad for us, but we still did it just to get the weed. Just so that we can enjoy these 90s things better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like imagination was key in all of nostalgia, really. When you're a kid, your mind has a chance to wander off into all the possibilities, and you look at something like it could be real. Everything you saw was just a version of something that could have been real in your imagination. It doesn't matter what movies, what toys, what even down to the clothes that you would wear. You thought those fads and styles were real life when sometimes they didn't translate.
Right? You see, it's like you watch Free Willy and then you believe Free Willy. You feel like that shit happened somewhere at some point, even though that Indian man never helped that little white boy save that whale. None of that was real. That whale died in real life. But, I still imagine that it happened, and the whole jumping scene, it's real in my head. So so if you can remember, what was your first 90s crush on a celebrity or someone from a show or a cartoon character even? Mine's a cartoon character. I already remember.
I had a few. The earliest one was in the 80s probably, and I think it was April O'Neil from the Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then after that it became what's her name from Saved by the Bell? Kelly Kapowski or whatever. And then it was always from TV shows and stuff like that, but the earliest one I think for sure had to be April O'Neil from Ninja Turtles. I mean, even her little action figure slapped. Like she had the tight little body on the action figure. You know, you could see why the Turtles liked her so much. You know.
Yep, April O'Neil was banging. I was just watching an episode of Vanilla Ice's show where he remodels houses and shit. And,
that's actually a good show.
Yeah, and there was an end. He was like showing the whole new house and everything, and they were in the kids' room, and he's like a teenager, and he loves Ninja Turtles, so he has this giant like painting on his wall of a female, sexy like Ninja Turtle thing, like all seductive, sucking on a slice of cheese pizza, and it was a very disturbing thing. Like I had never and never want to again look at the Ninja Turtles in a sexual manner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's never.
Yeah,
that's what April's for. That's why she's here. The Turtles aren't supposed to be sexy, and it was a weird thing. You know what I mean? But it was kind of like a cross between April and the Turtles, and and I would say I've had a lot of celebrity crushes. I would say as a child, definitely April O'Neil was one of them, but one of the big ones that stands out to me that I was just sprung on for some reason is the sister from Rocket Power. You remember that girl?
Nope.
It was like some stupid fucking cartoon about surfer kids. And it was fucking this surfer girl with purple hair that was a cartoon. Another one was Laura Croft from Tomb Raider. Like, I was so stoked when they made the movie with Angelina Jolie that I just rented it by myself, got a hotel room, and just spent some time with it. It was nice.
She was the perfect person to play that character. Also,
yeah, she was.
She really embodied that character in multiple ways. You know, like it was that archetype body. You know, like that was it right there. It was a no-brainer.
Yep. She had it was perfect, man. And now I want to watch that movie again. God damn it. I got to go see. Hotel rooms are expensive this weekend.
So, what's your first movie you remember going to as a kid?
Shit. My first movie that I went to in the theaters?
Yeah.
Man. That's a tough one. Do you remember yours?
I think mine was Home Alone.
Home Alone?
And then possibly the Ninja Turtles.
I want to say
I know it was one of those two for sure.
I want to say that let me find out when this came out. Yeah, I think the first movie that I ever went to, because like I didn't really like start going to like the movie theater and shit till I was like a teenager, you know what I mean? Like we didn't really go when I was a kid. But the first movie I ever went to was with school, and it was The Last of the Mohicans is what I went and saw.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
That was the first time I ever went into a movie theater. And I liked it. It was a dope movie. And fucking it got me going back. I still love movies.
Yeah, I was a kid the first time I went. I was a little kid, and I went with like my great grandparents. And
see, but that movie
that's what I remember.
That movie came out in '92, so I was 6 or 7. So that was the first movie I went to.
Yeah, so that's normal, you know. Yeah. That's like
it didn't
about
sound right.
Around this. Yeah, I'm from '84, so I believe what Home Alone was like early '90s. Ninja Turtles was like '91, '92, something like that. So it was around the same time. I think there might be one before that, but I'm not sure.
Let's see. Home Alone was 1990.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And Turtles was what, 91 or 89?
Turtles was 1990 as well.
Yeah, so it was probably both of those, and probably the same year is when I went to see him. That's a trip.
You know what? It could have even been a double feature, man.
Yeah, shout out to the 1990s for sure. Best movies ever.
Fuck yeah. Fucking.
So let me jog some people's memories. If you're from the 80s, then you got to have some nostalgia going on, and you have to say that a lot of these movies had a big effect on your life. Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
E.T.
Yep.
Back to the Future.
Yes.
Ghostbusters.
That reminds me, before you keep going, the official Back to the Future date that they came to is in October, and we are going to have a super fresh, amazing Back to the Future episode that will be kind of like this, but we're going to be talking about things that have come true since then that the movie predicted, because there's a lot of it. So I'm excited about that. Keep going. Ghostbusters.
Terminator. The Breakfast Club.
I
Die
love the
Hard.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah, me too. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yep.
The Gremlins. Everybody's all-time childhood movie. The Goonies.
Yep.
16 Candles. The Princess Bride. Who Framed Roger Rabbit. RoboCop. Caddyshack. National Lampoon's Vacation.
Blazing Saddles, is that around there? It's an 80s movie.
I don't know if it's 80s or not. That might be a 70s movie, honestly. But I do feel you. Mel Brooks is one of my all-time favorites for sure. Every single movie he ever made is still relevant today, and is still watchable like the first time. Definitely mad nostalgia factor. Mad Max, Star Trek, Beverly Hills Cop, Scarface, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Big, Predator, Labyrinth, The Karate Kid.
Now, Big is a classic movie.
Spaceballs. Yeah, every single one of those movies that I just named is a classic movie, and that's not even all of them, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I think
there wasn't a single movie on that list that I was like, that doesn't really belong with all those other movies. Those were all amazing movies, and they don't make movies like that. Movies fucking suck now.
Yes, and I agree. I fully agree. That's why I'm so stoked on the new Star Wars that's coming out, because J.J. Abrams has taken back to the old school and is using real models and live puppets and everything that's going to be, in a way, blended with the CGI better than any. I swear to God, this is going to be the best Star Wars ever.
I hope so, man. I'm excited.
I'm like debating on whether or not I'm going to go camp out for tickets because I'm a super nerd. I have fucking Darth Vader and the Death Star tattooed on my arm and shit.
Hell yeah.
I'm like all about it. Well, you're wearing some Star Wars shit right now.
I am. I'm a fanboy as well. So I'll camp out with you, man. Like fucking, we'll definitely do that.
You know, fuck it. Speaking of Star Wars, let's play some Star Wars clips.
All right.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
What a piece of junk.
She'll make 0.5 past light speed. She may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid. I've made a lot of special modifications myself.
Very bad feeling about this.
This is not gonna work.
Why didn't you say so before?
I did say so before.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
I don't know who you are or where you came from. But from now on, you do as I tell you.
You feel nothing? You're braver than I thought.
Nice, come on.
The Force will be with you. Always.
You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No.
That's like the N-word. I can't believe she said that.
Oh, do not. There is no try.
Because I'm a scoundrel. There aren't enough scoundrels in your life.
I have
Just that music alone. I get the chills when I hear that music in the new trailer.
What's that?
I think my eyes are getting better. Instead of a big dark blur, I see a big light blur. There's nothing to see. I used to live here. You're gonna die here.
Rayfield! You tell that slimy piece of worm-ridden filth he'll get no such pleasure from us! Right?
She
Look at you.
Hey, have you ever heard of DJ Boba Fettuccine?
No, that's a cool name though.
DJ Boba Fettuccine, he makes all these like crazy mixtapes and shit. And there's one called Jawa Breaks. That's There's that one, and then I think there's another one that he made, and he uses a bunch of samples from all the Star Wars movies. It sounds like that, and then eventually a beat will kick in where he uses a song from the movie and then structures a beat around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that's really smart.
Yeah, like I found his shit somewhere. I got a Batman album, like a Batman DJ mixtape album from DJ Boba Fettuccine. And I was like, look at this Batman album, that's so dope. And then I ended up looking him up and found out that he does all this Star Wars shit, and you should check him out. I wish I had a song queued up and I didn't have to find one. That was dope.
Yeah, I definitely will. We got Chewie on a song this year. We stopped him on his way to Comic-Con, and he came by. He pulled up in the Millennium Falcon and everything. He showed up, and he was just like, yeah, and it was on the song Fly With Us on the Varsity Dropouts page, if you want to go check it out. He gave us a little holler, if you will.
Yeah. Yep. That's dope, man. All these high profile people are kind of just popping in and helping us out. Chewy getting on your track. Kevin Bacon was on the podcast recently. Joe Rogan was on the podcast, and
Michael Buffer from UFC sent me a clip also.
Really?
Yeah. So like now, whenever we want to do the podcast, after we play the Natural Habitat intro, he sent us this. We could just play this.
It's time!
Nice. That's cool. And he recorded that especially for us in front of a whole group of people. And they were doing a live listen to one of our podcasts. Everybody sat in an arena silent and listened to us talk for an hour. And he recorded that for us and sent it to us, and that's really dope. That's dope, man. I mean, we're getting all this interaction with these famous, semi-famous people, and I think that it's gonna help out because when we get up to that level, we can go and do that for them when their careers are washed up. You know what I mean? When they're done.
Like Doug Benson gave us some advice, and he said, get somebody famous on the show. And we were like, well, how about you, Doug? You want to come on the show? He's like, fuck you guys.
Yep.
So,
even though I was just watching Chronic Con, and he just went on some dude's podcast, and he jumped through a bunch of hoops, went to a different hotel, all kinds of bullshit to be on it. So what kind of shit is that? He's all, most podcasts need guests, so I'm going to go do this podcast. And it's like, well.
It could have been a joke, though. You never know. He is a comedian, so we'll see. We're still waiting to hear back from him.
Yeah, so we're gonna have him on here for a 3-hour-long interview where we just ask him everything about his life, nothing about comedy,
all about Morgan Spurlock.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Morgan Spurlock and his mom's eyeglass prescription, and that's all. Morgan's mom, not Doug's mom. I don't care about that. He already talks about it. I know. It's 2040. I don't know if that's a real prescription code.
So out of all the movies growing up, for the nostalgia factor, what do you think played the biggest role for you?
I would say it would have to be Batman.
Are you talking about the original?
Yeah, the original Batman, and also I watched
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Michael Keaton, and then I also watched the old series, the 1960s series, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, with Adam West?
Yeah, with Adam West and Burt Ward. And we, my grandma, recorded them all. She had this giant wall of VHS tapes, right? And they were all, just black and had a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then she had a piece of paper with numbers that said what was on the tape, right? So I would go through this and watch all these weird fucking old movies. She just recorded everything. She had the OJ trial. I watched that. That was fun. And and I found probably 15 tapes of Batman, just old school Adam West Batman. So I got down on that as a kid, and it just hooked me ever since, man. I got Batman tattoos. I have all kinds of Batman shit hung up everywhere. I have rare shit that collector's items that other people can't get their hands on, 1 out of 50 all that shit.
Yeah.
And
man, shout out to all the kids that were lucky enough to grow up with grandparents in their lives. It seems like the same scenario for me, you know? Like I feel like my nostalgia factor is almost solely because of them.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, because I don't know what it is. I think it's because grandparents are trying to like, grandparents spoil their grandkids. Like, that's just how it goes. And pretty much everywhere, universally, unless your grandma's a crackhead, she's going to be nice to you. And, like, I think that they're trying to appeal to the grandkids, so they're trying to, like, you know, go down a generation, but they don't really make it far enough. They just make it to where their kids are. So they just push all this stuff on us that we probably, you know, a lot of things, you know, the first Batman movie came out in 89, and, you know, I was 3 years old when it came out, and somebody, like, put that movie on for me, you know, when I was too young to want to watch that movie. And, you know, I was, like, maybe, like, 5. And someone was like, hey, you like this Batman show? Watch this Batman movie. And it scared the shit out of me, and it was awesome. So, like, yeah, I think you're right. I think grandparents, they do have a lot to do with nostalgia. I don't know if anybody out here has some grandparents that turned them on to some dope shit. Let us know. We do have our brand new Natural Habitat podcast community on Facebook.
Yeah.
And
it's an awesome group where everybody posts pictures and topics that they want to talk about, and you know, things that mean stuff to them, memes, music, videos, everything. Everybody just it's actually grown kind of fast. So
yeah,
check that out.
And it's not just for us to post episodes of the podcast in, you know what I mean? It's not just like, here, listen to the podcast.
Even though we do it.
We are going to. But but it's not just for that, you know, like a lot of pages for things just turn into the whole feed is just trying to promote that thing. But this is the community of listeners, because the way I look at it, our listeners are a certain type of people. Otherwise, they wouldn't listen to the show. They agree with some of the stuff that we talk about, or they think that some of the shit's funny or interesting. So nobody's forcing you to download this shit and listen to it and follow this link. So if you listen, you're already pretty fresh. And I think that if other listeners can get in touch with each other and, you know, be on this like online community and talk and, you know, fucking comment on each other's shit, that they would like each other, that they would find out that they're probably not that different. You know what I mean? They're from different walks of life, but agree with the same kind of shit. And we could all kind of, you know, build a little community. That's the way I see it.
Look at us playing matchmaker and shit.
Right?
all of a sudden it's gonna turn into a dating site. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Back to the grandmas. My grandma was very instrumental in some of the movies that I watched growing up. She put me on to Crocodile Dundee's. Those were really good. She put me on to still my favorite movie to this day, other than Star Wars, is Big Trouble in Little China. I don't know if you... I don't know if you've seen it.
Dope,
but
man.
Yeah, and it's classic, you know, every single sense of it. The way that it takes place in Chinatown up in Frisco, and just the storyline behind it, and obviously Kurt Russell, man, he was a fucking genius back then. There's something about that dude that just takes me back, you know, and just the imagination and the theme of something like that, and the way that it's so cheesy but still so real, you know what I mean? It's like there's something different about puppets and things of that nature that are physically real than CGI. CGI just doesn't leave enough meat on the bone for you to like get what's really going on sometimes, I feel like, you know what I mean? So the special effects and all that type of stuff plays a huge role in it, you know? It's like this shit should take you back.
Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes. Just listen to the old Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some wild-eyed 8-foot-tall maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye, and he asks you if you've paid your dues. But you just stare that big sucker right back in the eye, and you remember what old Jack Burton always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit is just different now, you know? People just... The dialogue in the movies is nothing like that anymore. The shit is just so watered down, and it's because of trends and whatever gimmicky things that have changed, you know? Like, I can put on one of these movies and watch it over and over and over and over and over again, and it never gets old. It never, ever gets old. Some of those movies just have that effect on me, you know?
Yeah.
Basically any 80s or 90s movies. Cool Runnings. I watch Cool Runnings still all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that nowadays people are just too worried about appealing, like mass appeal, and trying to make it realistic, like, oh, this is how people talk and all this shit. But I want movies to be outlandish and ridiculous. Like, all the shit that's happening, I don't need him to have a normal dialogue going along with it. I want him to say super cool, sweet shit like that. Just crazy off-the-hook shit. The check's in the mail. Kurt Russell is so dope. One of my favorite Kurt Russell movies is him and Sylvester Stallone in Tango and Cash. You seen that movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
That's dope. And he has a line just like that, one of his crazy awesome Kurt Russell lines where he says, I got good news and bad news. And then Sylvester Stallone says, all right, give me the good news. Or give me the bad news. And he goes, we're almost out of gas. And he goes, well, what's the good news? We're almost out of gas. And then he like shoots off some giant thing, and then like they blow up. And it's just amazing. It's like that line is just so sweet because it's simple, it's funny, gets to the point. It doesn't have to be super deep and crazy. It's a movie. I'm trying to be entertained, you know?
Yep.
And movies don't do that anymore. They're not as dope. And like this movie, like Big Trouble in Little China, you could watch that movie over and over and over again. But even good movies that come out today, like, have you seen Ex Machina?
No.
Ex Machina was really good. Like, I liked it. It was a really good put together movie. But you can only watch that movie once. You know what I mean? It's only good one time because you know what's coming. It really only takes place in one area. So it's, you know, a lot of movies are like that. So where it's good one time and then you could never really watch it again. Like M. Night Shyamalan's movies. Or whatever.
Yeah, and I agree. There is a lot of movies like that. Like, yeah, they're so intense and so great, and you know what I mean? But like Avatar, how many times are you going to watch Avatar, really?
Right? One half of a time.
That's
how many times.
It's so long. It's so good, but it's such an experience that, you know, you think twice about dedicating that amount of time to do it again.
Right?
You know what I mean? Normal movies are short, hour and a half or whatever it is. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna get high and sit here and watch this movie and laugh my ass off like a little kid again. You know what I mean? So
another thing that I noticed I wanted to bring up was when I was going through, because you know I smoke a lot of weed, and I've done a lot of weed. I've done a lot of different drugs in my life in between now and the 90s. You know, it's been 15 years, so
yeah.
I had to kind of refresh my memory a little bit and like go on all these BuzzFeed links that I was talking about and look at all these different things and then be like, I remember that. Well, one of the things that I saw on there on multiple pages was, do you remember this? And it showed a picture of Bill Nye the Science Guy. And it was like, Bill Nye taught you everything. And I was like, well, Bill Nye is still around. Bill Nye is still very influential. Like,
They just put a season of Bill Nye on Netflix.
Yeah.
And they just put Reading Rainbow.
Yep. I saw both of those. But it's like, why are you going to say that Bill Nye used to be a thing? Bill Nye is clearly still a thing. You know what I mean? He's he's everywhere right now. Bill Nye's all over the place.
In politics. Yeah, he's in politics. He's in everywhere. He's still presenting the truth and still helping people get out there. I hope that he lives for a long time. I want to see him live to be 100 years old and still be doing this shit, you know, because people like him make a positive impact on everybody, you know. Even if you don't believe, even if you're full on Republican and don't believe that climate change is real, You'll still tend to like Bill Nye and want to fucking believe what he's saying. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. Did you? Everyone's calling for him to run for president, and he's not going to do it. But did you hear? Did you see this video of Bill Nye reading mean tweets about himself?
Oh no!
Here, I'm going to play it right now.
Bill Nye here. I'm just reviewing some of the mean tweets. People bother. They take the time to tweet about me. Listening to Tifus Biz. Bill Nye sucks butthole. Did not know that. I fucking hate Bill Nye. The asshole guy. Fuck that misogynist twat. That would not be a good usage of twat. I'm not clear on that. She's probably in a hurry. Here's a mean tweet. Bill Nye made me hate science to a whole new level because he thought it was fun, and I think it still sucks. Thank you. I hate Bill Nye. That guy is so annoying. Like, so annoying. When I want facts about global warming, I mean climate change, my go-to guys are mechanical engineer Bill Nye and political hack Al Gore. And Al Gore is one word, Al Gore. This person thinks that a mechanical engineer is somehow not qualified to accept the overwhelming scientific evidence. And what's the deal? Somehow if Al Gore hadn't made the movie, the world's climate wouldn't be changing or something? Right. Bill Nye wrote a book called Undeniable. I will forever hate him because he did not name it Undeniable with an N-Y-E-able. Hey, person. Sorry. You pretend the global warming fairy is real even as you live in a mansion. Maybe do cartwheels for voodoo. I don't know. I'm not sure where that comes from. Yo, Bill, global warming is fake and evolution is a conspiracy. I have to say, I think you're completely wrong on both counts.
Yeah, he has a pretty good attitude when reading mean tweets about himself.
Yeah, I love that part of that show.
Yeah,
mean tweets is awesome. I'm glad they do it.
Yeah, Bill Nye. For anybody who remembers Bill Nye's still around, so look him up.
Yeah, and that was PBS, man. I still watch all that shit. I still watch everything on PBS. I watch the Nova documentaries. I watch everything from there because that show was part of my childhood. It was part of that nostalgia, I remember things that were even before my time, a lot of things that were before our time because of my grandparents, because they would like Gilligan's Island and I Love Lucy, Bewitched, all those type of shows, the old school shows, Happy Days, the Munsters, all shit that we should know nothing about, even all the way back to things as far back
like Green Acres, fucking the Andy Griffith Show, all that shit. Because I remember I used to sit at my grandma's house and watch TV Land. She had a big giant satellite dish. That was like the size of my fucking bedroom, and it was in her backyard shooting up into the fucking stars. And I remember like when you would press the channel button, it would move. It would be like, and find different channels and shit. And I would sit there and watch like black and white TV Land like all day because that was one of the best channels out of the 4 that she got. So when I wasn't watching old VHS tapes, I was watching old TV shows. And, I think that stuff that old stuff that we watched that was way before our time is gone to kids now. But I think kids are still watching shit that was before when we grew up just because of, how it goes. These kids got grandparents that have VHS tapes. And have burned their own DVDs of I Love Lucy, you know what I mean? So it's like also like recorded entertainment is really young. Like, entertainment that you could save and pass around, besides records and shit like that. Like videos, and there used to just be TVs and that was it. And then you could start recording VHS copies of shit, and then you could download everything and then email it to your friends. So now there's just more and more and more, what's the word that I love to use? Content for everyone to go through. So, I mean, there's a lot of kids that aren't going to get that shit just simply because there's too much. And there's stuff getting added every day.
Yeah, if you're a young parent, our age, a little older, a little younger, whatever the scenario, it's your responsibility to make sure that the next generation gets a piece of some of this enjoyment. Like things that were way different back then. Things meant different things. Topics and conversations and dialogue and everything that was talked about back then was all true to life still now. I dare you to go watch an episode of Gilligan's Island and try not to laugh,
right?
Or go watch and listen to I Love Lucy and listen to the things that they're talking about. If you're in a family scenario, you're gonna have those same type of things still going on in your life today.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Entertainment back then was more personal than it is now.
Everything was relatable. And
yeah,
it was, I just think it's weird that, like when we were kids, if you were to look on, when we had AOL internet, and if I were to look up, a list of movies, like a list of drama movies, the list would probably not be that big. Like it would be maybe like 3 pages of movies that were, actual production companies and out where people could buy them. And now there's just so much. Like fucking, I could find 1,000 pages of drama movies that won't even cover it all. So I mean, it's a real cliche thing to say, but simpler times, man. Simpler times.
That's true.
Yeah, this episode just made me feel old as fuck. That's all that did.
Yeah, but it brings back a lot of that's the thing about nostalgia. It's like those old memories, it might make you feel old, but those were some of the happiest times ever. It's when it's always going to be a simpler time that makes you feel that type of thing. It's like the less cares and less responsibilities that you had then, that you didn't have to worry about things like that you have to worry about now, or worry about people, or worry about what's going to happen or what could happen. You know what I mean? You just thought about now.
Yeah.
And that's what I think people are missing out on and trying to get back to now. It's like by the time you hit retirement age, you're all about living for the now when you should have been this whole time.
Yeah, that whole feeling of enlightenment and living in the moment and being, just living today. People are always trying to do that, but thinking of other shit. And I mean, children really are Buddhists. Like if you think about it, they're just real.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are bastards, but some Buddhists are bastards, and like they pretty much don't have a worry, no care in the world. They're just chilling, and it was simpler times, man. Simpler times.
Tomorrow's not a concept for kids. You know, it's like what's next, what's right now. And I miss it for sure. Look, I know I went deep in the 80s, but here's the 90s flicks. Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Forrest Gump, The Matrix, Jurassic Park, Silence of the Lambs, Titanic, Terminator, Home Alone, Ninja Turtles, Fight Club, Braveheart, Toy Story. That is one of the biggest things ever, probably, also for multiple generations. Let's see, Ghost, man, Patrick Swayze, what the fuck, you know what I mean? He was like nostalgic era all on his own too, just like Kurt Russell. He had so many movies. Shawshank, The Big Lebowski, Reservoir Dogs, Saving Private Ryan.
The Big Lebowski. All the kids. The Big Lebowski's coming back in a huge way. It like became a cult classic instantly. But I know that. Did you hear about the Dudism, the Church of Dudism?
No.
It's a like an actual church that this dude made. He was a fan of the Big Lebowski. What happened is he went to another country and he was like partying with some friends, and he was like some dude, just like some rich businessman or something like that. He was partying in like Taiwan or some shit, and everybody left to go out to like hit the bars or like, you know, bang underage prostitutes. And he was all fucked up on like a bunch of different drugs and like all hammered. So he stayed at the hotel room, and in the hotel lobby, they were playing The Big Lebowski on loop and just on the TV in there. So he sat there in the lobby and watched The Big Lebowski twice. And he said that something like spoke to him, like he was in like some drug haze and he passed out. Something spoke to him while he was watching the movie, and he realized that the character, the dude, is like synonymous with Jesus. That he's like a modern day Jesus, and he wears the robe. He has the long hair. Like they kind of paint him out like Jesus, and he has no cares and blah blah blah. And he's like dealing with some prostitute and all this shit. So he made his own religion called the Church of Dudism, I believe it's called. And let me see. I'm trying to Google it. Yeah, Dudism.
Google.
Ordination by the religion of the Big Lebowski. So Dudism is a very legit thing. And I know this because William Waffles is a registered official Dudist priest.
Wow.
And he has some sort of power. I guess he can marry people, but I was like, the people that you would marry would have to be okay with being married under the religious law of Dudism. Like that's all.
And want their wedding in a bowling alley.
Yeah. Those are the two stipulations for sure. So
speaking of churches, I'm about to go become a member of the Indiana Church of Cannabis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are federally recognized as a church, tax exempt, and you get to medicate all day. It's part of your religion. It's not medication, it's religion.
What? You got to link me up, man. I mean, just because I feel the power of Christ and stuff, and you know, that's why I need the link. Not because I want to get high and everything, just because like I need salvation. So if you could link me up, that'd be dope.
Cannabis is life. Cannabis is love. Cannabis is all that is.
What kind of religion is this? Are we terrorists?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm about to get religious. Watch.
May the load be with you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you feel the power?
Bodacious!
Good shit!
Yeah!
Oh my god.
Gnarly! Radical!
Joey Black just turned into a cartoon character.
Wicked!
And he's doing all the turtle voices.
Omega!
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Huh? Cowabunga!
Wow. That's dope.
Church of Cannabis.
Yeah. And that's what happens. What you do is you take your what do they call it? Your religion? It's not your medicine?
Yeah.
So you take your religion through fire and lungs, and then I saw this because we're on a Skype call, and what happened is Joey morphed into some sort of four-headed cartoon character. He did not look like a Ninja Turtle whatsoever, but it was some sort of
sound was very similar.
Some sort of four-headed Hydra thing, and he started playing like these drums, just a drum set. Like the camera kind of panned out, and he was playing this drum set that I guess he's been sitting at for an hour, and he just started going off. And I guess this was the power of Christ that I witnessed. The power of Christ.
No, cannabis.
The power of cannabis. And you know, cannabis came and he burned for our sins. You know, and we're just righteous. We're gonna get in so much trouble. We're just being so inconsiderate. to people's religions. I love it.
Hey, it's all good.
Yeah, man, because everyone's entitled to their own religion, and ours is that of cannabis. So deal with it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't be a fucking hater, you know, because it's not very Christian of you.
Yeah, what would Jesus do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah. What would he do if he heard our podcast? He would probably laugh, I imagine.
Nah, he would come kick it, bro. He would smoke.
Yep.
He'd be all nostalgic about the 80s and shit, too. I don't know which 80s. 1880s, 1780s, maybe the first 80s. Who knows? Maybe. You know what I mean? But
yep. But definitely, he'll be nostalgic about them.
Yeah, he'll be feeling himself, and he'd be getting down with the religion of the Church of Cannabis. Because what's one religion to another religion? You know what I'm saying? It's not.
They all have the same goal. You know what I mean? You gotta you want to be nice to each other. You want to not do anything stupid that'll get you sent.
Smoke the faith.
Yeah, and apparently, in cannabis, our cannabis religion that we're in, all you really have to do is just use your religion, and just make sure that you buy your religion from a sanctioned religion dealer, so that you don't
religiously.
Yeah, buy religiously, so you don't get in trouble, and just pretty much keep a lot of snacks around. Like, that's it. That's all you got to do, because this will keep you out of trouble. Cannabis religion will keep you from doing any sort of stealing or murder or raping or anything that is against the rules, because you'll just be at home watching 80s cartoons and kicking it with Kurt Russell in all of his movies.
Just putting the smell in the air is like a force field to hate.
Yep, it's very true.
Yep. Spread the love. Spread the cannabis.
Yep, and I think next Friday we're going to be having a bake sale, a cannabis break sale, at at the church where is it? Indiana?
Yeah, it's Indiana.
At the church in Indiana, we're going to be baking up a bunch of religious goodies, and bring the kids. It's going to be fun. All right, man.
Out young. Shit.
Yeah, well, that's it. We're all done. Out of time. One thing I wanted to say that was dope. Do you ever listen to Atmosphere at all?
Yeah, I used to listen to some of that.
Do you remember that? You remember that old song "Sunshine" that they did?
Yeah.
That was all about waking up with a hangover and riding around on his bike and shit. Well, they made a music video for it with some chick that plays like the main character, and the whole thing was shot using solar power. Like, the whole video was used with solar power. Not a single ounce of energy was used, and it was like they have a whole behind the scenes thing. And they made the Sunshine music video 6 years later, when it was cool, and used the whole gimmick. And I thought it was dope. I watched it yesterday, and it was cool. It blew my mind how they
that is dope.
Did it all naturally. You know what I mean? So I'm down with that, being of the cannabis. What is it?
Cannabis.
of the cannabis religion. You know what I mean? I'm down with solar power, using things naturally and saving the planet.
It goes right on with the green movement. Everything's green. Love is green.
Yep, it was a good time. It was a good time to release the video. It would do better now with the whole green thing, because everybody's on board instead of everyone trying to get everyone on board like it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It's just like the Straight Outta Compton movie. There's no better time to release that movie.
Yeah, actually there isn't, It's on some fuck the police shit, which is a great time to revive that shit and revitalize everything, because these cowards are getting out of control.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So, I'm excited. If it wasn't what's the official release date for the movie?
The 14th.
14th?
Yep. On a Friday.
Mm-hmm. I found out I guess like albums come out on Fridays now.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Didn't it always used to be Tuesday for our whole lives?
Yeah,
it was albums on Tuesdays.
Just a promotional.
Albums on Tuesdays, and then comic books on Wednesdays. But
yeah,
I was at Best Buy the other day, and there was a sign that said new albums come in on Fridays, like some big sign. saying that they get all their new music on Fridays.
Trying to change the game.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like nobody's buying music, so they think if they change it to the weekend that people will be more involved.
Yeah, no, I don't think it works good that way, honestly. Just from my experience, releasing music on the weekends sucks because people are trying to party and do their thing. Nobody's really got time for it.
There's a lot of shit going on. You want to release shit on Tuesday, like how we release the podcast on Tuesdays when you ain't got shit going on.
Yeah, so take notes, motherfuckers.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that was it. I hope everybody had a great time going back into the bowels of your childhood, and I hope everybody feels old as fuck.
Go watch some old movies. Go smoke some old trees. Go reminisce in the past. Go
smoke some old go find some old weed that you got in the back of your drawer that you've been holding on to for 3 years.
Not too old.
Smoke some old weed. Yeah, man. Yeah. Take one of those movies off that list that Joey spit because all of them were good, and watch one of those, and that will be a way better use of your time than going and watching the new Minions movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So that's it. Thank you for listening. This hasn't really been announced yet, but I'm sure it will be eventually. But we are moving to a 2-day-a-week schedule, and more than that eventually. But right now we're doing Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Yep.
So I'm not sure what day this will be released on. This is kind of just a random one. So, whatever day it is, have a great rest of it.
Yep.
All right, peace.
Peace, bitches.
The Natural Habitat